Hello, my name is Larry Dobrow. I'm the editor-in-chief of MM+M, and I am thrilled for you to plug into this episode of MM+M TV. Today we are joined by our good friend and one of my favorite people to talk to, Zoe Dunn, who is the CEO and president of Hale Advisors. Zoe, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
We're going to be talking a little bit about omnichannel marketing and how,
Yay!
even as it is one of the industry buzzwords, I think it's still pretty misunderstood.
Yeah, I would say so. I think, for our industry, it's misunderstood, and we are all aspiring. It is definitely the new buzzword, though.
There you go.
I hear it. It's kind of like social media 20 years ago,
It's funny because over the course of, our Agency 100 conversations, omnichannel came up, and I'm saying like a good 95% of them, right? Because this is something the industry wants to do and wants to do well and kind of has to do well at this point. What are people getting wrong about their baseline assumptions about omnichannel? Are we coming at it from possibly the wrong place in some instances?
The pandemic totally removed our opportunity to communicate to physicians and nurse practitioners and other healthcare professionals. Omnichannel really is, I think, the hope of the industry to really cut through that and deliver that much more personalized experience that they're lacking with not being able to gain access with their sales force in the same way that they used to. And budgets are being shifted from those areas. I think that big pivot that happened during the pandemic,
which has not swung back the other way yet.
Exactly. Which I think is a great benefit because it's due time for us to explore these other channels collaboratively in order to reach our targets. And then on the patient side, that's something else entirely. We are desperate to handle patient engagement in a more meaningful way. This is where really, really targeted, personalized communications can make a big difference, right? Each individual person can receive the message that's most meaningful to them. And that's the greatest opportunity, I think, for pharma. But maybe why they've been kind of trying to figure out how to make this happen. It's not as comfortable a technique as they're really used to. They're used to investing in their sales force. They're used to DTC.
How ready is the business for some of the things we're talking about?
So there's a lot of companies that are trying right now. Yeah. We've seen most companies are piloting in some capacity, usually choosing a brand or two that they want to work with, and a channel or two that they want to pilot in. So, for example, we see a lot of work in next best action or working with field force emails. That's kind of a safe proving ground when it comes to omnichannel.
It's not scary. It's familiar a little bit.
Yeah, and we've already been doing some of that modular work as an industry for a number of years now, right? We've been kind of crafting a modular message and allowing our reps to personalize that message to physicians. So it's a really great starting place. Same thing with banner advertising, A/B testing, kind of trying different subject lines, trying different, calls to action, trying different, interacting, putting those claims together with those messages in a more modular way. So we see companies really trying that. They're also investing in the technology that they need to support that, right? And that's a really big lift, I think. It's expensive to put into place a whole new technology platform to gather data from those customer interactions. And then there's some issues with privacy in our industry that other industries don't really have. I mean, everyone has issues with privacy, but our industry, it's very hard for us to get to that consumer level data or even physician action level data unless we're integrating with a lot of different technology platforms. So that's a big lift. That's a big technology investment. And then the other thing that we really see people doing, trying to get ready, is changing the processes and the people that they have in their organization to really make sure they've got the right people, that they're really knowledgeable and informed about omnichannel, and that they have the right processes in place. Our area of expertise is on the governance, the digital governance side. So we really sit between commercial marketing and the promotional review teams. So of interest to us is how these modular content pieces are moving through that review process and getting to market. And there's some concern that there's some holdup. There's concern with 2253 submissions, and everything going smoothly, so that all the good work that the commercial marketers are doing with their agency partners, all that personalization is really flowing through and getting into market in an easy way.
Is there I don't want to say, well, actually I do want to say, is there a philosophical adjustment that needs to take place at the same time? I mean, is it a matter of, making sure that everybody who's going to be a part of doing this and doing this well, in theory, is aware of, like, here is why this has to happen? Is that the kind of thing you got to drive through as well?
Absolutely. We believe that change management is really the key to everything. And I know that's kind of a gimme, change management. Like, of course.
Nobody likes change. You manage it.
You manage the change, But there are a few key components to that. So the first one is knowledge. Your organization really has to be on the same page about what omnichannel is. We see a lot of pain right now at even just the simple description of defining what omnichannel is for the organization. I'm sure you saw that at your agency session on it, right? Yeah. So, knowledge is key. Knowledge is power. And so spreading that out across your organization is really, really important. That includes upskilling each of the key areas, each of the key stakeholder areas in understanding what modular content is, what omnichannel is, how we're going to develop that system, that it's, creating a matrixed approach to marketing, which is a bit different than what we're used to. The key is that you really need to help everyone in the organization know how to apply that modular way of thinking. So they have to understand that there's, your calls to action, your individualized, personalized messaging. And then for me, what's most important is those claims, making sure that those claims are validated, they're verified, that they're tied to that modularized content so that we can be automated in the way we're serving it up. That's, right now, I think that's one of the biggest challenges, because you can create all the best personalized content you want, but we have an obligation. We have to make sure that those claims are scientifically accurate and that they follow that content appropriately through that process, if it's promotional in nature. And so, I think that's another really important thing, to make sure everyone understands the basics of that. And then I think organizations can really succeed. We do that through communication and training. Those are the two key areas that we think are most important in reaching people and creating that change.
When you are doing the training, when you are doing the communication, where are some of the areas where you see people kind of stumble? Where are the the places that you can take a wrong turn and go down an alley that's going to cost you time and money and everything else?
So everyone's really busy. Wow. And no one wants to sit through hours and hours of training. We just had an experience recently where a company was implementing a new platform for their promotional review team to overlay on Viva to really handle a library of content of claims and modules. Okay. And the training is pretty burdensome. It's learning something new. It's learning a new technology platform. And it's really, really hard for people to understand that in their workflow and make it meaningful to them and bring some ease to them, because otherwise it just feels like one more thing that they're going to have to know how to do. And is it really worth it? Is it really worth it for them to change what they're doing? If it's not broke, don't fix it. So, internal communication can't be thrown away. It's how you're positioning the value offering here for omnichannel, why it's so important for the organization to move in this direction, and how everyone can change their jobs just enough to really make sure that it's streamlined.
Open a little space for it, make sure it
just
fits
a little
into
space. You don't have to change everything you're doing, but you do have to amend the way that you're doing things to make room for this. And so those communications are sensitive, and making sure that you're in tune with each individual team's needs, what they need in order to feel confident about it. I think that's really the trick.
The companies that do a good job of communicating, that sell it well, what are some of the commonalities? What are the clients that you work with that you almost you want to give them the little badge and say, right on, you nailed this thing?
So they've found the value proposition. Mm-hmm. And this is really interesting because I don't think that omnichannel for the life science industry is quite proven yet in terms of the ROI. I mean, let's think about the huge investment that companies are making to get there. They've set up omnichannel teams. They've hired people whose title is omnichannel to direct those teams. They've pulled together people cross-functionally from across the organization to make it work. They bought technology platforms. They bought into these technology platforms, and now they're having to set them up and launch them. And I think, that's a heavy lift. And we're not exactly sure, is that going to generate more scripts? Is it going to lead to better health outcomes for our patients? Proof is in the pudding. We'll have to see. But in the meantime, we have to be able to communicate actively for the people in our organizations what the value proposition is for them. If we can't do that, then it's not going to be meaningful. Think about the idea of not having one size fits all marketing messaging for everyone and really being patient centric for the first time. Like really putting your money where your mouth is on that one and saying we are going to develop good communications that are going to drive better health outcomes. Because for me, that's what it's all about. That's why I wake up every morning and do what I do, is that I have a core belief. My dad's lived to be 94 years old. Why? Because of the incredible advances in our medical system that prevented his parents from making it to 60. And we need to make sure that we as an industry are doing a great job of bringing that marketing message to people to help them to live those better lives. So, I think that's why we're doing it. To me, that's the value proposition. That's what you need to be communicating internally at your company, that we are doing this to be more personalized, to be more relevant to the people that we're trying to help.
This is probably a silly question, but are there Luddites? Are there people that are saying, you know what we've been doing, it's been working well enough, so let's, thank you for your omnichannel, but, give me my rep materials.
Of course. Yeah. And, for many, many years, as someone who works in the digital space, I can tell you I've heard this pushback, right? There's a lot of sales reps out there. They don't want to lose their jobs. I don't want them to lose their jobs. I have a great respect for the sales rep process, for that personal touch point that they have with physicians, which is critical. I mean, there are some aspects of medicine where that is the most important touch point, bringing that rep in to have a really good, clear conversation with the physician or the PA or the NP, right? So I think what we don't want is for all of those touch points to go away. What we're looking for is to make them work harder and stronger. So sure, there are people who are saying, no, what we've done is working fine. And I will say to them, well, you're also driving cars that, figure out which lane you're in while you're driving them. And that's a pretty cool feature. So if we're, things keep evolving. The world doesn't stand still. So we have to grow with it and we have to evolve with it. And it doesn't mean that we throw out what's been working. It means that we amend it and enhance it. Mm-hmm. And that's why, piloting omnichannel in things like rep-triggered emails or in conjunction with what the field force is doing, what a great opportunity for marketing and sales to finally come together. Mm-hmm. I've never seen...
Have that mega summit,
Absolutely. I've never seen a better opportunity for the two to meet.
5 years from now, where's our omnichannel journey going to take us? Are people going to get on board quickly? Is this the kind of thing that you think is going to be sort of a, gradual, then all of a sudden you wake up and, hey, we're all there?
I think several things are going to have to evolve and innovate in terms of communication platforms in general. I think, we'll keep growing and finding better ways to keep people safe in a digital state while still making these communications relevant and meaningful to them. Privacy is very important to us as a digital governance company.
Yeah.
Trust me, I want some structure in place and I want to know that people are engaging with this content in a safe way. So I think all of those changes in the industry, they're going to get forced, right? We're already seeing that's been moving. That started in Europe. It's moving to the US.
It's coming whether we like it or not.
That's right. And I actually think instead of shutting everything down, that's really going to open a world of opportunity for us to feel safer when we're in a digital state. But I do think that, therefore, we're going to develop some new ways to personalize this information. I think we're going to really find new ways to be meaningful to both patients and physicians as an industry. And 5 years from now, I mean, it's my hope that we're leveraging this type of platform really naturally, that technology is built into the way that we're doing business. We're more efficient. We're more effective at engaging.
Zoe, one last bonus question for
Okay.
you. This is MM+M TV. Big music theme around our Agency 100 coverage this year. What is the last song that you listened to?
Oh, boy.
And by the way, I should say that people in this business have a really good taste in music.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, now I feel like there's a little
lot
bit
of
of
pressure on
pressure.
you.
Yeah. You know what? The last song that I listened to that I really, really love is Childish Gambino's "This Is America."
That's a song.
Oh, I listen to it on repeat. It's one of my favorites.
Zoe, love talking to you.
Same.
On camera, off. You're one of the good friends and a good supporter of MM+M. Thank you so much for doing this. This was great.
It was so much fun. Thank you so much, Larry, for having me.
Absolutely. For MM+M, I'm Larry Dobrow. Many thanks and be well.